This is episode 108 of Seddy Bimco, part 2, The Revenge. This week we're going to continue our tour of the 50 nifty United States.
Seddy Bimco, America's foremost revenge-themed podcast.
This week,
Yep.
I chose Colorado.
Yeah, you
as
did.
We watched 1988's Destroyer, filmed in the Teddy Bear State.
Oh,
George.
yeah, because
George.
I get that.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, age-old question first. Yep.
I got an age-old question.
Hey, Tim.
You're going to love this one.
Yeah.
I nailed it.
can't
I've
wait.
crushed it. There'll never be a better one than this one. You know
That's
Joseph
a pretty
and
low
Mary?
bar.
Joseph and Mary?
The parents
Mary?
of Jeebus.
Yep.
Yep,
Well, Joseph
okay.
wasn't involved. He just hung out with her. He didn't get her pregnant.
That's what he says. Yeah.
Well, did Joseph and Mary ever get revenge on all the companies that blatantly commercialized and cashed in on the birth of their baby Jesus, such as Frankincense and Dimes Savings Bank and Tree Wiseman Arborists,
That sucks.
Bethla Ham and Bacon Shop,
Oh.
Gold, Frankincense, and Murder Detective Agency.
Oh.
You could go buy nativity sets there.
This is so long.
Last one. And there was Ye Old Christmas Tree Shop, spelled with two P's and an E. Just like jolly old Bethlehem.
So when you said there'll never be a better one, you were going for the worst.
No,
That was
crushed
crap.
it. I
That
crushed
sucked.
it. I even
That's
left out Messiah Porta Potties. Come on.
Nothing major in there, huh?
We'll play the song.
Yeah, play it.
It's Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
Seddy
Major danger.
Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge. We make revenge sequels that nobody wanted. How do you say it? We're the premiere.
America's premier revenge-themed podcast. We make sequels to movies, revenge sequels to movies that never deserved them.
And we put the wild card question.
And this wild card, he picks a number out of a jar. This number corresponds to a pre-written list in which you use this list to determine which character from the film we talk about today is most likely to. Tim, what was the number we got today?
Number 1.
Number 1. What is that correspond to? Which character is most likely to number 1 on our list?
Who from this movie is most likely to take a dead friend to Mexico?
Take a dead friend. Wow. All right.
Ooh.
Well, Tim,
you have
I got
anything
some
to
big
say
news
before we get to the movie?
Fuck yeah. Because you know how, as America's most premier revenge-themed podcast, we occasionally will cover revenge-themed stories in the news. We don't do it often because often the revenge is awful. It's always something sad, like a person takes revenge on their, lover and murders them and stuff. I have an amazing story from the website, themarysue.com. Are you ready for it?
Oh, okay. Surprising.
I'm going to read it a little bit. This Redditor concocted the perfect revenge after his roommate ate his fancy beans.
Fancy beans? What are fancy beans?
Well, okay. Let's explain. This was from, they wrote this article from the subreddit, Am I Overreacting? One user asked for everyone's thoughts in the situation involving expensive beans. The user explains that he likes to buy heirloom beans and grains from a place called Rancho Gordo. That means Fat Ranch, in case you're wondering. Okay. These beans are expensive, and you have to cook them properly in order for the purchase to be worth it. However, their roommate has been stealing his beans. This is the quote from the guy. Okay. On 3 times in this year, I have caught my roommate, 25 male, cooking incorrectly my beans, he explains. He thinks that dried beans should be a shared resource. What? He never buys beans or any other kind of dried food. Never mind an expensive kind. I told him, stop eating my beans. This week, I was really looking forward to making a veggie chili with some of my good fancy beans. I got home and seen the bag was empty, like 2 or 3 beans in there. I became enraged.
Why would he leave 2 or 3 beans?
I know that's the part that really does. That seems like a super dick move, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy comes up with the perfect revenge. A+, no notes, writes the writer for the Mary Sue. Okay. My roommate is obsessed with the video game Baldur's Gate 3, he writes. I seen him play it all the time. So when he was out, what I did was, as I went into his game, you have 4 characters in your party, basically. So I went to this place where there is a cliff, and I dropped all of their gear and then picked it up and threw it down the cliff. This took me a long time, like hours. And then I went back to his camp and changed the party with other members, and I went back to the cliff and did the same. I did it until every single member of his party was naked and weaponless, and then I saved the game, and then I deleted all his prior autosaves. So now the only save file is one where his game was down a cliff.
Wow.
Yep. Wow, right?
Does he say what happened when his roommate came and found that?
So then the article continues. So what was his roommate's reaction coming home and finding his entire party naked and bereft of gear? It says, well, I won't spoil it here. You can read the original thread below or click through to read on Reddit. So I did. His fucking roommate shot him in the face.
No.
Yeah.
You did not tell us a funny story. Oh.
I don't know. I don't know what he did. I assume he, I don't know what, Tim, what would you do if your favorite video game, all the characters are naked and bereft of gear, as they said.
If all my Pac-Men were naked.
All your Miss Pac-Man doesn't even have her bow on, so you can't even tell her. Right. Oh, no, the lipstick still. You can still tell by the lipstick.
There's still a few things there. Beans are known as the poor man's meat. There's no fancy beans.
Well, I heard that beans are known as the magical fruit.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
They're also the poor man's fruit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the poor man's vegetable.
I heard they're good for your heart.
Yep, the poor man's heart.
Too. Yeah. They're the poor man's heart. Yeah. Yeah. If you have a bean instead of a heart, please go to the doctor immediately. And if you have a bean instead of a heart and you're still alive, please write to us at seddybimco@gmail.com. Tell us about your bean heart.
That was a good story.
Well, we're off to a good start. Yep. I was pretty excited.
Why do you say that?
Yeah. I did
ready.
say it.
This is going to be an amazing episode.
Oh, just like your amazing joke. Yeah.
Pure hearts, bright eyes, whatever. Whatever that saying is. Texas football. Go.
Texas football. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So this movie was your choice, was it not?
Colorado.
Yeah, this is
it's a
this
western
was your choice.
U.S. state. Has a diverse landscape of arid desert, river canyons, and snow-covered Rocky Mountains.
That's true, Tim.
I'm not reading that off the internet.
No, you're definitely not.
Denver lays claim to the invention of the cheeseburger. And it's the only state to turn down the Olympics.
Winter Olympics specifically, yes. Yep. In 1977, I think the year... Oh, no, that's not the year this movie came out.
The year I was born, no.
Yeah, you were born in 77, definitely. 1877, more like.
Are you gonna? You want to read the big fact that I bet you know?
What?
About Colorado?
I mean, I have a lot of facts.
Dinosaurs?
I don't know. What's the big... Oh, it's where the Stegosaurus was discovered.
Colorado is the home to the largest preserved set of dinosaur tracks, says I read.
Oh, that too.
You didn't know that?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of dinosaur shit. I knew that. It's the longest mile. It's the longest track of dinosaurs. It's where the first Stegosaurus was discovered. I have some facts. All right.
Okay. Shoot me with them.
The city of Denver is literally a mile above sea level.
It is.
That's interesting. Yeah. Specifically, if you go to the 13th step of City Hall, that is exactly 1 mile above. And they call it the Mile High City as a result. And Denver is the capital of Colorado. And a lot of people don't realize it's named after country music superstar John Denver.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he was born in 1800s.
Yeah, I mean, he's a vampire. Let's see, what else? Weed is legal there. So, Tim has visited Colorado, I think, 1,400 times since
I was there
on,
you know what? I was there. George and I do book tours. I was there on a book tour, and I did my talk, and I came out of the talk, and that's when I got a text that said, hey, you were a clue on Jeopardy. Pretty sure it's Colorado. That's where it happened.
Oh, no, is this going to come up every time now?
The president called me, President Roosevelt. Called up, said, Bully,
wow,
you're a national hero.
Also, this is where the first teddy bear was.
That's right. That's what I was thinking. Teddy Roosevelt.
President Roosevelt. Say bully. Exactly. Yeah, he did. And he had a teddy bear.
Named after him.
Yep.
He shot bears.
Let's see. The Rockies, the Rocky Mountain Range is partially contained within Colorado, and the Rockies are named after pet rocks.
I thought you were going to go with Balboa.
Yep, I thought of that. But the Colorado River is a famous waterway in Colorado, and that is not named after Colorado. It's actually named after actor River Phoenix.
Okay, these are all true facts.
These are all true facts. The state animal is a ram smoking a wicked blunt. And the first Chipotle restaurant was opened in Colorado, leading to the first case of Chipotle diarrhea in the nation.
Okay, is that one real? Or is this
the first, actually I assume both of those are real. The first one is stated to be true. Yes. The second part, I'm assuming.
Was it a Mile High Chipotle?
I assume so. I think it was in Denver, actually. And final, famed skiing resort Vail, Colorado is named after Batman's girlfriend from the original 1989 movie, Vicky Vale.
Pretty good facts, pooping out my Bethlehem jokes. Bethlehem and bacon shop. Yeah.
Yep. Here's some real facts, though, as you know.
Okay.
Apparently, it's a hotbed of elevators. Did you know this?
There's a lot of elevator action in this movie.
So there is a website that I often frequent when I do this called elevatorfan.com, where they have a lot of different... Yeah, I do. And they did a video about filming about a 1901 Otis birdcage elevator that still runs in a building somewhere in Denver. They never actually identify what the building is, but
they don't want everybody going there, George.
I guess not. Cross-referencing other sites, though, it might be the Sugar Building. So 1901 elevator, impressive, still running. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, they don't want all of us elevator fanatics showing up at once.
Yeah, like Tim. And the first streetcar, 1872, pulled by a horse. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
And being it's a mile high, that horse once kicked over a fruit stand.
That horse was a Pegasus.
The melons went down the hill, and Buster Keaton was down there, and he had to run away and jump down the girder that was being pulled up to build a building, and
Buster
the melon
Keaton,
was on the girder, and he ran back and forth to balance it, and the melon would roll back and forth. So
Tim Hamilton with the timely references. If you're just joining us, is this your first episode of Seddy Bimco? My co-host Tim Hamilton is very old. We don't know how old. He will make no reference before 1977. I mean, after 1977. That's basically where it ends for you. Like,
I've made a resolution. I'm gonna reference young Sheldon a lot.
All right, let's hear it. All right.
Well, when it comes up.
Okay.
Young Sheldon never knocked over a fruit stand.
Maybe he did. Maybe you need to watch more closely.
No.
Yep. All right. I think that's all my facts I wrote down.
Oh, do you want to talk about the movie, or are you done? Is there anything else?
Yeah, let's talk about the movie.
Nothing happened to me. We're filming ahead. There was an eclipse.
There was. We should mention, actually, we're kind of in maybe the end times, because we just had an eclipse the other day after we recorded. A few days before that, we had an earthquake in New York.
Yep.
It's been kind of an interesting time for, because we record so ahead. By the time you all listen to this, you already know about the volcano in New York and the Sharknado. What other things?
I think those events foretold the death of
the
O.J.
rapture.
Simpson.
O.J. Simpson died today.
They don't know that he came back to life yet, though.
They don't, in that he was actually filled with thousands of little tiny O.J. Simpsons who spread out across the country.
Just became worse.
They erupted from his corpse, and blonde women everywhere are hiding. Oh, that's terrible.
That's terrible.
That's awful. Oh, what a piece of shit that guy was, huh?
He's
in my old comics doing ads for Dingo Jeans.
That's right.
That's another thing. Yeah.
You can't watch Police
Can't watch
Academy.
The Naked Gun.
The police
Naked
one.
Gun.
What is it called? Yeah.
Naked Gun.
Can't really enjoy that. Can't enjoy Capricorn 1.
I don't know that one.
Ooh. That's what
I can't enjoy Star Wars.
That was they played down Capricorn 1. It got too close to the truth. It's about the fact that we did fake all of our moon landings. You never saw this movie?
No,
OJ
I think the Smithsonian took it.
Are astronauts. And when the rocket takes off for them to go to the moon, it blows up, and like, we have to pretend you're dead. And these guys are like, we're getting out of here. And it becomes this chase.
Folks, the movie he's talking about, I want to point out, I just looked it up, 1977. Just like I said, is the exact line. It really is. That is the exact line where your references die. You know nothing beyond 1977. It's like you woke up.
This movie would be big if it weren't for Star Wars.
Everything was, it's every Star Wars. All right.
So,
but we're not talking about Capricorn. When we're talking about 1988's Destroyer.
Let's talk about Destroyer.
Yep.
Roddy McDowell. he was going to be in this movie, but Anthony Perkins
I heard that.
filled in.
He ate at the first Chipotle and he had bad
And
diarrhea.
Roddy McDowell was in the movie Elevator.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Previous episode of Seddy Bimco.
And there's a lot of elevator action in this movie, as I said.
I guess there is. I didn't even register it, but I guess you're right.
Yeah. I thought you'd be screaming. I heard you screaming.
That was for other reasons.
So Anthony, sadly at this point, he might have been sick. He did die of AIDS, and he never really...
Wait, I didn't know that. Really?
Anthony Perkins, yeah. He was married to Barry Berenson, like, for a long time, but it was kind of an open secret. He was gay.
I don't know who that is either. Barry Berenson.
Well, that was his wife, and she stayed with him till he died, and don't look her up. She died. You know how she died?
Barry Berenson. Well, her name is Barry. I assume she was eaten by a bear.
Oh, she was on one of the 9/11 airplanes.
Holy shit. I'm just seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's a cursed
I shouldn't
family.
say I know Anthony Perkins was gay. It just, what I read, everybody's like, yeah, he lived in a time when you couldn't come out, really. You lose all your jobs.
So, but he was married to this woman, Barry Berenson. So I assume this was a marriage of convenience or something.
Well, I don't know that, but that's what people think.
I'm going to read about her afterwards. Expect my full book report on Barry Berenson.
And I feel bad for him because his makeup in this movie it's almost like
God.
Trump makeup. It's just like
I wrote down at one point, I'm like, just notice that he's wearing brown face. Like
no,
he
it's just
has
orange,
like
more orange. I think the film had degraded.
maybe it was your, like, you could see it's definitely spray painted on around the eyes. It looks like a spray on tan.
It was just bad makeup, though. I don't think he was trying to do anything.
Did the version you watched? Oh yeah, I don't think he was. It was poorly done. Did the version you watched start with a disclaimer from Cheesy Films saying that
Yes.
we try to make the best prints available and sometimes we don't get them?
This is one of those times.
I've never seen that before. I'm like, this is gonna be a good movie.
Robert Kirk is a director. He didn't do much else. Not much to say there.
Nah, he doesn't have. But I will say, though this is not a good movie, there was actually some interesting angles and stuff.
Yeah, it was
like this seemed like a real movie at point. Like, in fact, there was even in the credits, there was even things listed like art director. So I'm like, oh, this is a film that was actually maybe got a theatrical release, and it did apparently.
Oh yeah, this is the time period I think they realized, well, if it doesn't do great, we got video shops. It was that time period.
Yeah, it was released. I did read it was released in theaters, and then later the same year was released on VHS.
The same week, you mean? Sorry, I don't mean to be mean to these movies. It did have a weird opening. It was almost. I don't know. I don't even want to say Tim Burton. Of that time, it was almost over the top with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of artsy. That's what I'm saying. And it had there was a long So let's just say it starts off. We just see a close up of a hand squeezing a doll head over and over again
with fake blood in it, I guess. Right?
Well, we assume it's fake blood. Could be
or ketchup.
And there is a dude. We just see close ups of his eyes, very tight close of his eyes. He is watching what is Wheel of Fortune, but it's not Wheel of Fortune. They call it Wheeling and Dealing. Wheelers and Dealers, but it's just Wheel of Fortune. And there's just he keeps staring at the Vanna White sort of person as he's squeezing this doll head. This man, I should say, is a former football player, Lyle Alzado. Do you know his stuff, Tim?
No, I forgot to look this guy up.
So Lyle Alzado, I know him because my dad was a big fan, not of his football career, but he had a brief movie career where he did a lot of stuff like this. He really, first off, this guy is enormous.
He is.
He's so big, not necessarily just the tallness. I don't know that. I mean, he's literally built like a Hulk. He's very big.
George, is he the giant football player in Revenge of the Nerds?
No, that's a different guy. You've mentioned that. I thought you knew that guy. I thought you've mentioned that guy's name.
Personally,
no, Lyle Alzado was in a lot of B movie stuff, and my dad was just a big fan of his movies. So I grew up knowing who Lyle Alzado was.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, Lyle Alzado he didn't have a very long career post being a football guy. He died of brain cancer.
Oh no!
But he does a bunch of movies that you could see that are about this level or more. He was trying to be like a Arnold Schwarzenegger type.
Yeah.
But he actually does have some good charisma. He's really putting in a performance, and he is shockingly large. It is kind of weird looking. You're like, this guy. I know I recently re-listened to her episode on Hercules in New York, talking about how big Arnold's in that. Like, he's definitely bigger than Arnold was in his prime. He's just he's a wall of a human being. He's squeezing that doll head,
watching TV,
watching this thing.
Priest
he's
comes
being
down.
A weedy little priest. This is a weedy little guy with
he's the actor in the movie,
on.
Right? Now that I think of it.
Now that you exactly, it's so funny as you said. Just to mention, I'm like, wait, he's the same guy, isn't
yes.
he?
Because we're going to find out that what we're seeing at the beginning is a dream.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We basically, this guy who's watching this wheeler and dealing thing with like this Vanna White sort of figure. He's obsessively watching it, and he's being led through this prison, which is very empty and very eerily silent. And it's last rites. He's being fit for a wheelchair where the priest is reading his last rites. And everywhere you go, there's these TV images. Like, this game is playing everything. And these priests is like, do you have any final words? He's like, turn the TV around.
Yeah.
And he keeps asking, give me a B. Give me a B. And he's watching this, and there's people watching him get killed. There's an executioner with a mask on.
Did they let him keep his doll head? Which
I don't know.
I guess not.
I don't know.
Reads,
maybe
not.
not.
In the Valley of Shadows. What's that prayer called? I should know that.
In the Valley of Shadows, I shall know no shadows.
How green is my valley? Except when there's shadows.
Is that really it's called? Mm-hmm. Maybe. I believe you.
I think that was written by.
He keeps watching the game. He keeps watching the thing to say, give me a B. It turns out to be, it's just you and me now. No B's in there, so I don't know why he was so into the B. I literally think it was a bitch reference because he does say that word a lot in this movie.
Yeah. Well, doesn't he say barbecue? He says barbecue.
Well, he's saying a bunch of words. He's like, give me a barbecue. Give me a like, he's just saying, I don't know what's going on. And like, he's really chewing the scenery.
Give me beans, fancy beans.
And they started lecturing, give me fancy beans. Give me fancy beans. Give me Baldur's Gate 3. Give me bereft of gear because you strip my characters bare naked and throw them off a cliff. Wow, that was a lot of bees on there.
Yes.
He gets electrocuted.
Because he killed 23 people. They tell us that.
Oh, no, not just he rapes and murders 23 men, women, and children.
That's right. I remember children.
I'm like, whoa. And he goes 24, and he laughs. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. And so they just like, and like you see the warden go, just execute this animal. They flip the switch. He vibrates in the chair for a while. There's sparks running through him. The power blows out in the prison, and then he breaks loose and like he kills the priest, breaks his neck. He goes over to the executioner, pulls off the executioner's mask. It's a lady.
Yep.
And then she wakes up screaming, and that's how it's a dream. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It's our leads in bed. The main actor, whose name is Steven, and her name is Susan.
Yeah. Or Malone, they keep calling her?
Yeah, Susan Malone.
Or Mahoney.
It's unclear. He's the writer of the movie that they're making in a prison. It's unclear what her job is. But
they finally reveal later. It takes a very long time to, and she's all upset and crying. She's like, "I'm having your dreams." He's like, "You're having my dreams." And we learned this thing, like, they're filming a movie. Like, he works. Well, first she says you work in the prison. I assumed he was a guard. No, he works in the prison because they're filming a movie, and he's doing research on the execution scene.
Because this prison's been abandoned for 18 months, I think he says.
Yeah, 18 months.
Some sort of big riot.
There was a big riot that I wrote down how many people died. 13 guards and 37 inmates were killed. And it was during the execution of this guy, Lyle Alzado, whose name is Ivan Mosier.
That's right.
The guy who did eat. I don't know why I threw eating in there. He rapes and murders 23 or 24 men, women, and children. Including
the hostess of
he kills Vanna White. Basically, it turns out that's why he's obsessively watching this. He was obsessed with Vanna White and killed her. So, but she's not. Her name is something different.
Yep, they're filming in the abandoned prison. They mention Warden Karsh, Karsh. SH.
What? Like, there's a TV interview we're seeing in a local diner, and the writer, who is our main character, what was his name? David, you said?
Yep.
Fantastic hair. He's like saying, yeah, I've done a lot of research, and they were doing it in the actual abandoned prison because Karsh was a criminal, and all these people got killed and stuff. And Karsh is like, God damn it, tarnation! He's another southern racist cop, and he runs off. He's going to do something. There was a cameo here.
Okay.
I want to actually, because this is going to very much date me of a specific period.
Oh, cameo.
When we meet the film crew, there is a character called Rewire. Did you recognize Rewire, Tim?
No, I wrote his name down, but
he
had these
is,
big glasses
folks,
on a lot.
big glasses. I immediately recognized him. If you were someone like me, a child of the 80s, you will recognize him as Randy of the Redwoods from MTV. Do you remember this character?
No, I wasn't a big MTV person.
That's ironic because Tim starts every single episode watching old 80s videos and will then talk like, he'll drop like current thoughts on like Cyndi Lauper and Culture Club, like as if. So
Current thoughts.
in MTV during the 80s, late 80s, I think it was about 88, because if I recall correctly, he ran for president. Randy the Redwoods was a character. He was a hippie who lived in the Redwoods, and he would be like, far out, man, and would have all these weird little skits at MTV all the time. And and like that was my period of MTV. So I was immediately excited. I'm like, that's Randy the fucking Redwoods right there.
I should have recognized him because he was a little bit older when he guest starred on Young Sheldon. They did an episode where they went camping.
And he was in the Redwoods, right? That's the episode where he abducts and mutilates young Sheldon, right?
No, not that one.
Yeah, no? Oh, that's
was later.
a different one. It's weird how often that happens on this show. Like most people don't realize, even though it's the most popular show on TV probably, that young Sheldon gets killed almost every episode. But it's like Kenny from South Park.
This is more lighthearted. Young Sheldon got sap from a tree out of his hands, and then he was trying to read a map, and of course it stuck to his fingers.
And then the bears come after him.
He said Bazinga.
And then he gets eaten by bears. Bazinga. What else? This is good.
That's it.
I'm glad you're doing current references. You're like you so want to mention Mark Twain. You're like, oh
no. I want to say that I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, but this writer's doing all this research about the prison. But the movie they're making is like women in prison fighting. It's like a sex, like tawdry sex prison film.
Yeah, you just say women in prison. We know what sort of movie it is.
Yeah, I know.
So
it's like Orange is the New Black. That's what it's like.
We get to see a little bit of this. So we meet Randy the Redwoods, who's the special effects guy. Anthony Perkins is the director. They're filming a scene. There's a woman named Sharon Fox, who is the main star. Mm-hmm. She's filming a scene where she's being chased by two guys with guns around the prison, and they're filming this for days. It's very hard for them to film correctly. There's a dude who is photocopying his head on a photocopier.
Right. Photocopiers must have been new back then.
And I know. It's like
who's he fooling on a movie set? It's not like it's an office where they're of accountants.
That's his whole character is that he films. He's like photocopying his head. And we're basically introduced this as the writer guy, who we now know as the writer guy, is walking around carrying a like a prosthetic dummy.
Yes, it's a female
special
dummy.
Effects dummy. Yeah. A female dummy of Sharon Fox, the main star.
Because Susan gets a good joke in here when David has that dummy. Because I forget why he said something about masturbation, and she says, David, sex with a dummy for him is like masturbation.
Is it necrophilia when you do with a dummy or something else?
In your case, David, sex with a dummy would be called masturbation.
Sex with the dummy is more like masturbation.
Oh, because he's a dummy. See? Get it? Because he's a dummy.
No, I didn't get it.
No, because he's a dummy. Sex with you is like masturbation because he's a dummy.
I think, didn't she say to him, sex with you is like, wait, what is that like from the Jack Weiss film? It's like blowing your nose. No, going to the bathroom.
It's like, sneezing. Or going to the toilet.
Going to bed.
Well, then she says masturbation for you is like when you're in a Starbucks bathroom. She got it again. Then she says masturbation for you is like when you're looking at pictures of your cousins at your family reunion.
Oh, is his cousin Precious Waters? No. Okay. What else, Tim?
She just also says masturbation for you is like when you're crying. There you go. That's it.
Yep.
Funny.
It's funny. It is fun. That is funny stuff. Did you catch that there was like a little bit of a boner joke earlier between these two when they're in the bed scene? When she wakes up all crying from having the dream where like the killer comes to life and kills her. And
yes, like
she's laying on him and she goes, they're talking about like she's having his dreams, he's making fun of her, and then she suddenly changes gear and she looks down, she's laying on him like at his like naked torso, presumably. She's like, I bet I know what you've been dreaming about.
Pet rocks. Huh?
Yeah, pet rocks. And he's like, that's right. I think we could market these and make millions.
I meant because they're hard.
Oh, that too. I don't understand sex. Warden Carr shows up. He's all mad. He gets in the writer's face like, stop saying bad things about me. Stop talking to my prison guards.
Yeah.
Norman Bates is there, and he's just like, yes, listen to him.
And Rewire, I think. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Rewire. What does Rewire do?
Well, I forget where everything goes, but they're also walking around the prison trying out their squibs, and we learn that Rewire's in charge of special effects, and he can't seem to pull the right switch.
Yeah.
Squibs, if you don't know that, that's when people wear things and they explode with blood.
Yeah, the exploding blood packets to simulate someone being shot.
Did you watch RoboDoc? That's where I learned a lot about squibs.
Was that a documentary about RoboCop?
Oh, yeah. And Verhoeven, he wanted it over the top, so the people were like in pain because he put so many squibs on them, when they got shot by the robot near the end, like shoots them in the office. There's just blood spurting out of there.
Oh, the scene where like the bad RoboCop is like just annihilating that guy.
Yeah.
You know what's always a funny scene about that? It's always bothered me ever since I was a little kid. Like that guy is getting just perforated, it's a million holes through him, right? Mm-hmm. He's like in front of the window. You see them blowing at the back, and like no bullets are breaking the glass.
You ruined the movie for me.
Movie's ruined now. All right. Speaking of ruined movies,
but he was in pain.
So then he was in pain too, and then I heard he really threw him out the window.
Oh, you got to watch the documentary. What? Remember when he falls out the window at the end, and it's a stop motion.
His arms are all long.
Stop motion dummy. The arms are all long. Yeah.
Yep.
Because they interview everybody, and then there's this one guy we haven't seen. He's like, yeah, they hired me to do this shot, and yeah, it didn't work out so well. I felt so bad for him. He's just like the one person in the whole documentary. And I don't know why they hired an outside person.
Kind of ruined my whole life. Yeah. Everywhere I go, people are like, hey, nice long arms, you fucking hack. Yeah, they use their long arms to slap me.
I feel bad. He said the camera lens did it. He said the lens.
Oh, the lens did it. Cameras are always out to get me. First it adds 10 pounds, then it makes your arms real long. This is a good podcast.
It is.
People love I want to get back to the movie. Yeah, they do.
So let's talk about that movie instead.
We're not talking about RoboCop. We're talking about Destroyer. I just want to mention at this point that the girlfriend, who we still don't know what she does in this movie, she's just wandering around. She finds a doll hanging, just like the doll we saw in her dream,
that's right.
hanging by the neck from the noose, and it has a note on it that says, "It's been lovely. I am yours." Yeah. And we see eyes watching her as she discovers this. The same eyes that we saw in the beginning of the dream. We're like, oh, shit.
He's watching her teeth.
Is this Lyle Alzado? And he's watching her teeth. She has nice teeth. I will say that.
I have to point out when they bring the dummy in, we meet the janitor.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And the janitor, do you remember what he says when he sees the dummy? He's like, does that thing have tits and everything?
Yeah, everybody makes that reaction.
I know. Him and one other
Everybody
person.
sees this dummy and they're just like, because like the main character makes a comment about sleeping with, like, everyone sees this thing as being like, yo, can I fuck it? Can I fuck that doll?
They're all like, they're 11 years old. They've never seen a naked body.
Yeah, which is really weird.
But George, this is my official
is this a list? Oh, you're official.
The janitor.
All right.
List of reasons why the janitor would wonder why the life-size female doll had boobs and everything. Number one, since we're talking about the United States, he grew up in Florida and they have terrible sex ed classes there.
That is true. Not even funny, just true. Folks.
Number two, the life-size doll he bought using the personal ads in the back of Shaggy Rodeo magazine only had one boob.
What? Was it like a big uniboob like the way Barbie dolls had?
It was.
Nice. All right.
Number three, he grew up on a farm and wondered if that dummy had boobs and everything, just like his favorite scarecrow. There you go. Number three. You're shaking your head.
Okay, that was... Folks, if you
I tell you, I read that
joke,
to my wife. It was like tears of laughter.
Is that why she left you?
I was like, come on, we got to go to sleep. Stop laughing.
I think this is important to mention.
I know what you're going to say.
What?
Oh, they're filming Death House Dolls. That's the name of the movie.
I never caught that, actually. When he's bringing the doll, the special effect doll, when he brings it to what's his name, Rewire, the Randy the Redwoods character, he is listening to a song. Did you catch the lyrics of the song?
No.
The chorus over and over again is "Kiss my stinky white ass."
I did not hear that.
When you go to IMDb, it says soundtrack. All it says is "Kiss my stinky white ass."
Did you have the closed captions on?
I put them on for a bit and then turned them off later because I found it very distracting. But it is stinky white ass. It is definitely Tim, it covers up important details, so when the closed captions are on there.
Yeah, they were thinking about the janitor or the warden.
Yeah.
You want to talk about what the warden did after he came to the prison?
So he wanders around for a bit, and then he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a big old nasty shit in my old warden.
In a bathroom that probably hasn't been cleaned for 18 months. That's what I was thinking.
So he goes in there. We see his feet up there. He's pulling down his pants. He pulls down his underpants. He lights a cigarette, which I'm like, that seems gross. I don't know. So he's smoking a cigarette, taking a shit. And while this is happening, we kind of see like a hand truck being pulled up some stairs. And the hand truck gets wheeled in. We see, hey, there's like some canisters on that truck. Like you might have like for an acetylene torch.
Yeah.
And the warden's sitting there squeezing out a cheeser, and he says something like, "What are y'all doing here?" And then suddenly you hear a torch light up, and it welds him into the bathroom stall.
Well, yeah, he tries to burn him, yeah.
He picks him up, and he's just like the torch coming over the top, and is like burning the guy. He's like, ah, and he's crawling underneath the next stall, and he keeps setting fire. And then eventually
the gross part.
Well, because he's shitting.
Oh, he's crawling on the dirty floor.
Well, I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. You're right. Bathroom probably hasn't been clean for 18 months. But 18 months without humans using the toilet, do you think it's kind of returned to nature at this point?
Maybe.
Like all the human bits there, all the dookie and stuff, that's probably just turned back into nothing. So it's probably cleaner than it would be if they'd used bleach.
That's quite a theory.
Sheriff gets burned, dies.
Yes.
Yep. It's a whole long scene. And then we finally, I mean, we're probably like at about a half hour into this movie, folks. We finally learn what our main character, the girlfriend, what she's doing in the movie. She is a stunt person.
Oh, yeah.
She's wearing a wig that looks like the movie star Sharon Fox. Yep. They exchange some catty comments about each other.
Yes.
And she's standing on like the third floor of like the interior part of the catwalks. That's the word of the, that's the word. And she does like a dive off the edge while imitating Sharon and lands on a big floofy thing. And like, maybe a detail you should have told us before. Also, when they do this, she's wearing a wig and looks like the other actor. So if you're not paying attention, you might not even realize it's her. It was very confusingly done. And while this is happening,
no, because Anthony Perkins says somebody get a shot of the close up of the hands. Anyway, never mind. I don't know what I'm saying. You go ahead.
I don't need.
Tell me. Tell me some facts.
Well, here's the fact. On the fourth floor, watching this while this is all going on, we see the burned feet of the someone's watching, and they're dragging the corpse around of the warden, which nobody smells for some reason.
No.
We learned from Randy of the Redwoods that they're filming a scene now in the electric chair. It turns out the electric chair is still operating.
Yeah, for some reason. Seems very dangerous to me.
Very dangerous. They run, apparently prisons have their own generators because this actually sounded maybe true because the power companies didn't want their power to be used to kill people. So they would have their own generators. Yep.
Is that true?
I don't know. It sounds true though, right? They say it in the movie. I'm like, that sounds like it could be real. I could see why if you're like, General Electric, you're like, maybe don't fry the human beings with our power.
General Electric, you know how many people they've killed with their poisonous pollution?
I know, but they're like, yeah, but those are innocent people. Don't kill convicted criminals. Yeah. No! Welcome to Seddy Bimco, our new sponsor, GE. Fuck, damn it.
And Rewire, right around here, I don't know where it happened. He picks up a boot and he's like, "This is Ivan's boot," and he like sticks his nose in and sniffs it. Remember this? And he says,
"That was there. I think that was earlier, but yeah."
He says, "If we had another boot, there would be a pair."
Randy of the Redwoods, everybody.
Oh, so I do have two lists. Sorry.
This is your third list.
I have a list of other amazing things Rewire said.
Okay.
He said, "If a pear fell out of an apple tree, it would be an apple." Mm-hmm. And if two apples fell out of a apple tree, they would be a pear.
Oh man,
And if that lady dummy they're using for the movie shoot has boobs and everything, she would have a pair of breasts.
Yeah,
Rewire said that, or
that's
Randy
good.
the Red Hoods.
Definitely Rewire / Randy Redwood said that, and not my co-host Tim Hamilton. No. By the way, I just want to remind people, this guy is a professional cartoonist who works for the New Yorker. This is what this is the humor you're being served. Is this when they oh yeah, this is speaking of the dummy with the pair of breasts, they put it into the chair to film a scene.
Yeah.
And the electricity melts it. And it's like that scene from like Raiders of the Lost Ark where like the Nazis melt.
I have that written.
But like shitty. Yep, but shitty.
But what did they expect? What did they expect?
They're all mad, like, oh, you melted the dummy. It's like, wasn't that the fucking point? And also, like, when you were watching this, Tim, were you expecting it to be like they'd melt it and like, I don't know, like the body of like the warden would be in there or something would reveal something?
No, I was confused why they're melting it. That's all.
Yeah, they melt it and they get mad. They're mad. Like, why'd you melt it? It's like, that's why we had it, right? That's why we're not just filming the scene with the lady because we wanted to melt it. Well, so anyway, as they melt this thing, it makes the power blow out because as we learned just before, this isn't on public utilities. This is its own generator. Mm-hmm. And it locks people in. The front door is locked to the entire prison. And most of the cast, including Randy of the Redwoods, Norman Bates, and Sharon Fox, are locked in the room. The only two people out are the girlfriend,
David and
who's
Susan,
a stunt woman, and the writer, who is the boyfriend. So they get on the phone with Randy of the Redwoods, walkie-talkie, and he explains to them how to get into the basement to turn the power back on.
Big
so they go in,
Otis elevator.
I guess it was. They get in a big Otis elevator.
He says, look, Otis, we're safe. We're in safe hands.
He says, Otis, they've been installing elevators all around this great country of ours since the late 1800s. Kind of the heyday of Otis was probably about 1920. And they just go on and on. It's like very weird.
Right. They do. And Dave is a dick because they get down there and they're like, I don't know about these first steps. Ladies first.
Ladies first, yeah. And he climbs down the steps and he cuts his finger. He's like, ow, it's sharp. Then he falls into a sewer. Yes. Just a straight up sewer, just falls in there.
He goes, damn it.
He's like, oh.
I should have let her go first.
He's all floundering around in the water. And then the janitor that Tim mentioned before shows up. He's like, the guy's like, I don't, like the writer yells, like, I feel like I'm in a sewer or something. He goes, sewer nothing. You are in a sewer. And he goes, you mean there's like shit down here? And he's like, ew. And so they pull him out. And as they pull him out, they don't notice that there is a burned hand in the water.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, that's where Lyle Alzado, who's clearly still alive because we saw his eyes, is hiding the bodies. But then something weird happens, Tim.
What?
After the writer and stunt woman leave, the janitor's still there, and he looks down. He sees the bodies.
That's
and
right.
I'm like, oh, is he going to be killed? Is he the next one? He just closes the gate.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, shit.
He says, you deserved it. He says something like that.
He goes, you deserved it, you mean old bastard.
They explain this is Moser's hole. They used to put Ivan in there to punish him.
Oh, that's true. That was like where he was kept when in solitary confinement. The sewer, literally, with
Moser's
shit
hole. I thankfully didn't do a list of other things that could be called Moser's hole. I didn't do that.
Tim, let's do it right now. Tim, let's put you in the spot. What are some other things that go Moser's hole? But so I'm like, oh, the real murderer, it isn't really Lyle Alzado. He's really dead. The murderer is the janitor because he knows he doesn't react. He's just like, oh, shit, maybe we have multiple murders.
Janitor goes back to his office. He watches some TV that's some show. It's 100 years old.
Yeah, Tim, you remember when that show first aired. What was that show called?
That was called Mommy Loves Work.
Probably
1938.
Probably
it was on before Lucy.
Yep.
Yes.
I believe it. Yep.
They do show David and Susan. They take a shower at the prison. It's like weird. I'm like, are you at the prison taking a shower together?
Yeah, they kind of like a makeout scene. David kisses like a creepy weirdo. I didn't like that. Yeah.
Oh, that actor.
It was like
he was on season 1 episode of Star Trek.
Which Star Trek? The original Star Trek or
Next Generation? Of course, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. He could have been like a kid.
He sadly played one of those characters who's an old admiral, and he does something he's not supposed to, and he becomes young. But when he comes on the show, you're like, oh, there's a guy in old man makeup, so I guess he's going to get young. That kind of thing.
Oh, way to go, Star Trek. Keep up those special effects. Yeah, it's a funny scene where, like, it just occurred to me, Tim, they're doing that because Norman Bates is in this movie.
You think so?
Like, it's literally him taking a shower, and you see, like, a weird thing moving. Like, they're doing, like, a shower scene, like Psycho.
Wow.
And she comes in and she makes out with him.
It's a weird new theme in our show because we just talked about Roar that had Tippi Hedren, and they did a scene with birds in a room.
Well, and there's another shower scene later with him too. There's like 2 homages to Psycho in this movie,
and then there's one where he's looking out the rear window of the prison. Did you catch that one?
And then
he sees a murder take place at the other prison.
And then there's that scene where he gets vertigo. Remember, he just falls over. He goes, "I can't stand up." Yeah. Yep. What else?
That's it.
Yeah. So then it's the next day. They've been making out. Like, I will again emphasize, our male lead kisses like a weird creep. It's upsetting to watch.
Yeah, they're trying to fix up these trick handcuffs. So I guess she's special effects person. I don't know.
Well, no, I think he's not. No,
he's the writer.
She's the stunt woman, so she has to break out of that. But
whatever. Wait, did I miss that? That's what you meant.
Yeah.
Oh, I just now realized that's Susan was the stunt woman.
Oh, see, this is what I'm saying. You didn't get that.
I didn't get that either.
Yeah, no, the main character.
Oh.
They wait very long and like I said, it's kind of hard to tell because she's wearing a wig and dressed up as the actor.
George, I thought you were confused about how a stunt person stands in for an actor. And I was thinking before, I was like, George, how did George get so stupid?
Who turns out to be our main character, even over the dude.
Now I know.
Yes, she is a stunt woman.
I've been thinking about that for a while. Like, George didn't understand. It's a stunt woman and this is an actress.
Do I have to reevaluate this entire partnership of the show?
So
yes, she is a stunt woman, folks. I hope you at home got that.
That's why she's messing with fake handcuffs.
Yes, and that's why she jumps off, and it sets up later when she jumps off to escape the killer. Mm-hmm. Here's what happens. Let's just move this along because now Tim understands I'm not actually the world's dumbest man. A cop shows up being like, "Hey, y'all seen the warden?"
Yeah.
And the janitor is like, "I ain't seen him since yesterday." It's like, "That's funny. His car is here." "Oh," says the janitor, "I know where he is. Follow me." He takes this cop into the basement.
So obvious.
They're filming. I know. It's like, well, I guess you killed that cop. And I'm like, at this point, I'm figuring, oh, he's the murderer. But he leads him into a room. And then, sure enough, Lyle Alzado, Ivan Mosier, is actually alive. And he has a fucking jackhammer. And he kills this cop with the jackhammer. And he puts it right through him. It's coming through the wall. The other guy, the janitor's on the side of the wall, touching the bloody jackhammer stump, going,
and I was thinking,
it goes on.
We live in the city.
Long.
You can hear a jackhammer 5 blocks away. So I don't know what went on in the rest of the prison.
Well, there's people in this movie, obviously, they don't hear these things. They don't smell burnt flesh.
No.
They don't hear people screaming. Like, this is the acoustics and odors in this prison are very weird. So anyway, the cop gets killed. And we now know that the serial killer guy who raped and murdered 24 people, men, women, and children, is alive and is in the prison and is working with the janitor. So we're like, oh, shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So at some point, our actress gets very upset. Anthony Perkins yells at her. She starts drinking and she's sad.
The actress, not the stunt woman.
No, the real one.
The actual actress.
She was from
her
Shaggy
name is Sharon
Rodeo
Fox.
magazine. This is like a real star.
Yep. That was literally, wait. Oh, they do mention other movies she films, right?
Oh, you got a list?
My favorite was well, no, these are real movies. These are things he actually said. I was going to make a list and I forgot. Motorcycle Sluts Go Logging.
Oh.
And The 30-Foot Bride of Satan. There was a third one I didn't write down fast enough.
That's right.
And I will be damned if I was going to rewind this movie even once because this movie was an hour and 37 minutes and had a lot of commercials.
Oh, yeah.
So this was like a 3-hour escapade to watch this thing. So she gets drunk and is hanging around being all sad.
She sits
like,
with
nobody
the dummy.
likes me. These two. She's getting drunk with the melted dummy. She's sitting in the electric chair. I'm like, well, we all see where this is going, don't we? This is about, I think this is pretty close to when I stop taking good notes. Because I'm like, there's so much happening in this
They got
movie.
in the elevator again. They run around. Sharon's lost in the basement.
Here's the thing. We expect Sharon to be killed in the electric chair. And there is a scene where she even gets shocked in the electric chair.
Yeah, they shock her to test the chair.
Norman Bates is doing. That's why she's crying. She's upset because they tried to electrocute her. I'm like, nobody respects me. And you figure, oh, this is the scene. She's getting electrocuted in the chair. She does not. She actually runs into the basement, runs into the janitor guy who tries to strangle her with a beauty pageant sash. And then she kills him.
It's hers.
And I'm like, what? It's her beauty pageant sash, I guess. Yeah. She kills the janitor.
Yeah.
And then
knocks him off.
Lyle Alzado kills her, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We don't really we don't really see how, I guess. We see her body later.
Yeah.
This is another scene that is an homage to Norman Bates.
Showers.
They're filming they can't. Yeah, well, they can't find her because she's dead. She's been killed by Lyle Alzado, the main star. So he's filming like this is the big scene. We're filming a shower scene, but like guys, this isn't just Janet Leigh, like kind of where you can maybe see a few stuff. This is like 8 or 9 like 80s tastic ladies, full frontal naked, having a tickle fight. I was. This is when I actually got up to him, and I will admit, this is when I turned off closed captioning because I'm like, I don't want to see this.
Want me to cut that out?
No, keep it all in. Keep it all in. This is me playing the bit.
Just keep shouting, we need more skin. Animate, ladies, animate.
Animate, ladies, animate. Which is like, that's Tim. That's what you yell whenever you watch Roger Rabbit, right?
Yeah.
We need more skin. Animate. Let's see what I did there?
Yes.
So yeah, it's literally 5 minutes of like wet women tickling each other in a shower. He has dispatched.
And he offers Susan, who does the stunt woman, he's like, how about you? Take off your clothes.
Well, he wants her because they can't find the actor. So he wants the stunt woman, her double, to do it. She goes, I'm not doing nude scene. He goes, Susan, this is the 80s. Yeah. Everybody does nude scenes now. Nicholson, Streep. He goes, tell you what, go get her wig. I'll only film you from behind. She goes, you mean where my ass is? He goes, Susan. So then she goes off to get the wig. She goes and finds the wig from the dummy. She doesn't see the dead body of Shannon like hanging there, like with it by the sash by the neck. Mm-hmm. And then she goes and she's walking back, and Lyle Alzado is watching through a hole in the wall. He's like, "Look at the naked ladies."
Yes,
and
also we should mention, if people want to follow this plot, David, the writer, he's at the diner, and he just seems to find out the cook at the diner, whose name is Fingers. He worked at the prison, and he knows everything. He's never told anyone. He explains the whole thing to David that he's never told anyone for 18 months.
Yep. Should we tell them what it is now, just to cut to the end of this?
We might as well.
All right, so
the janitor,
basically, Fingers, the janitor, the one that we just saw die, the one who's been working with Lyle Alzado, is Lyle Alzado's dad.
Yep, it's just like Star Wars.
Empire Strikes just like Back. Star Wars, yeah. He has the Force. Yep.
No.
And Lyle Alzado was being electrocuted, and the power went out.
And now he's half dead.
And he was assumed to be dead, but instead it made him half dead. Yes.
Yes,
he escaped. He's half dead, and he regenerates really quickly. He's got like Wolverine powers. He's got a healing factor. And when he died, that's what caused the riot, where I think it was 13 guards and 47 inmates died. And like, they never recovered the body. They assumed he's dead, but it turns out he's half dead. Don't know why Fingers knows this.
Yeah, don't know.
Fingers is like, you should ask the janitor, whose name I forget. He knows, he's his dad. We're getting this huge dump while all this shit's happening. So then we come back, the lady with the wig, she's coming back, and everyone's dead.
Yep.
We find photocopy guy. This is actually kind of cool. They go into the photocopy room, and there's all these photocopies of his dead, bloody head. Weirdly, the blood's in color. Did you catch that?
No, I didn't catch that.
They definitely didn't have color photocopies back then, so you could see that some intern colored it all in with markers, like red marker. Yep. He's dead.
But his head is cut off in the. You didn't say.
Oh, I didn't catch that part. Honestly,
that was his head severed, put on the machine.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, Randy the Redwoods is hanging. He's dead.
No, we think he is. We think he's dead. He's testing the hanging scene. Remember? You didn't catch that? She calls him.
No,
Susan calls him for help. He's just testing this hanging scene.
I honestly don't know if this is a scene that really happened or if you're setting up a sequel.
That's what happened.
Okay. Wait, so Randy the Redwood survives?
No, but after he helps her with some dials and turn on the electricity, he gets killed by iron.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay.
So David tries to get to the prison.
She runs into... Well, he's trying to... This is important.
Okay.
Susan runs into the room where Norman Bates is, and he's in the electric chair.
That's right.
And he gets electrocuted, and his eyes explode, and he dies.
Yes.
And it looks like it's pretty clearly not him the electrocuted... Like there was just another actor or a dummy or something. So everyone's getting killed. The whole time David's trying to get back to the prison because now he knows that the guy is like an undead monster living in the prison. Because there was a scene.
He doesn't want to go there.
He's like, if he's half dead, where could he be? Exactly. Where else could he go? Huh? My name is Fingers. And he goes, it's just weird.
He had a bowling award. That's why his name was Fingers.
I thought it was just because he would always say, hey, pull this.
Yeah, I thought too.
Yep.
He had many.
I will say this was a grueling, like 20-minute climax.
Yeah, we just went. I don't know what parts you need to mention. He put Susan in the electric chair. She stabs him. She gets away. She shoots him. He catches her. They go to the basement. He gets gasoline.
This is important.
Huh?
When he puts her in the chair, he cuts her hair off, parts of her hair off, and eats it.
Yeah. Yep.
He eats her hair. Don't know why, folks. It's like there was just a lot of weird stuff. He had like a weird doll head he would crush and stuff. We didn't mention the doll shows up other parts. He eats hair.
Ivan didn't have time to flesh out his character.
I mean, it was just, I feel like it was Lyle Alzado was instead like, yeah, what if I eat hair? They're like, go for it. You're huge. We're scared to say no to you.
Did you see
he's
what he
wearing
did
a policeman's uniform.
Before he cut her hair, he did a little act on the floor acting like a rat. Remember?
I didn't catch it. No, at this point, I'm looking down and writing shit, trying to get notes down. And like every time I look up, there's something weird happening. I'm like,
He was at the floor too. Yes.
I should admit at one point I walked away from the movie to go fix myself like a drink or something.
Well, he did the thing on the floor because he once played a rat in his middle school production of The Miracle Worker. So he's the only thing he could do. Okay.
The Miracle Worker famously filled with rats. Yeah.
His production.
Yep. So it just goes on forever.
It goes on
like there's a scene where David gets a motorcycle and crashes into Lyle Alzado, but he clotheslines him
because there's a car and a motorcycle in the basement.
Yeah, that's weird.
And
why?
Ivan falls into barrels of gasoline, so we're like, okay, you're going to catch on fire at some point. So they chase each other a lot. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it goes on forever. And we should mention, so like Lyle is kind of vaguely a zombie. Like he's got like some weird gooey stuff inside of his head. Maybe he keeps getting like killed and like set on fire and stuff, but keeps coming back.
Like Wolverine.
He is like Wolverine.
Star Wars and X-Men.
Yep.
Here.
He brutalizes David, just like beating him, and it's pretty funny. Like, I mean, it's probably the noise I would make if I was being beaten up by Lyle Alzado. Like he's whimpering. He's like, he's just getting like mashed. He's brutalizing Susan, but she's like the Ripley. She's the one who finally defeats him
because the race ends near the blowtorch, right?
Yep. Right by his hole, the sewer that's full of shit.
Oh, because I think she sets him on fire. Still alive, but she kills him, and then
right, he does come back. And briefly.
Then she's got the blowtorch, and she sets Ivan on fire.
Ivan's on fire. He falls into the hole, which is the poo-poo hole, and then the torch and the acetylene canisters falling after him. There's a big explosion,
and doesn't she
and then
say,
the grate falls over.
Bite on this, you son of a. Or what is it?
choke on this, you son of a. No, we did the same thing.
I know.
I think it's smile, you son of a. And then there's a big explosion.
That's what she said.
Yep. And then
in the hospital, they're alive.
Yep.
Oh, she has a nightmare. Doesn't she have a nightmare? Then that Ivan is in the hospital at her bed. The zombie
and
guy.
Ivan goes and he's all burnt up.
He does his rat act again.
He eats a bandage off his ear.
Yes,
for some reason, because it's just again, Lyle Alzado was like, "How about I do this?" They're like, "Yeah, do whatever. You're terrifying. You're covered in burn makeup." And she wakes up screaming, but she realized, "Oh no, he's really dead." And then she goes and comforts David, who seems to be in a coma and just mutilated. And that's the way the movie ends.
But he does wake up a little bit. Because
does he?
You turned off the closed captioning. He wakes up and he says, Did they ever find out if that life-size dummy had tits and everything? That's what he said.
And she said, just one, babe. Just one boob. And then he goes, good night. And he goes back to sleep. And that's it. That's the end of the movie. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. Good podcast.
Wherever you are. Wherever you're hiding, I'll find you. Revenge. Who's most likely to take a dead friend to Mexico? I know.
Who?
It doesn't have to happen after this movie. The janitor. He was dragging around the dead, burnt up corpse of the warden. So I think, or was it Ivan dragging him around? I'm not sure who did.
I was about to ask you. I'm like, because I had decided it was the janitor, but I'm like, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was Ivan. You know what? Why not a father-son dead corpse road trip? Yeah.
And
they'd just seen that movie Weekend at Bernie's. They're like, say, that gives us a good idea. So they kill a guy with a mustache. Maybe it's the cop. Maybe it's just another random guy. And they put him in the car and they go to Mexico.
Right.
There, they fill him with cheap and inexpensive candy and fancy beans. And they make him into a human piñata.
Okay.
Yeah. And then but what, Tim? Well, let's hear it.
Oh, but... They get drunk and they leave him in the park, and they did dress him up like a piñata, and some other family found him and said, "Hey, free piñata! It's my daughter's 8th birthday party." They bring him home and hang him from a tree.
At this point, he's putrefied, so he's ready to go. Yes. They slap a blindfold this little girl. They give her a long stick. She swings wildly, and he explodes, showering this poor family And again, inexpensive candy, fancy beans, and
Fancy
human
beans,
gore. Has to be fancy beans because, as we know,
We apologize, Mexico. I wouldn't want that to
wasn't.
happen.
No, we don't want this to happen to anybody. That was a great story. Let's not drag it back in. Yep, it was. Tim, I keep saying things, and you say as if I'm not. Your tone begs that I'm disagree with you, but no, I agree. That was a great story. That was probably the greatest bit of improv we've ever done on this show. All right. Should I go first?
Okay, let me start the music. Where's the button? Where's the button? Wipe off these fancy beans. That doesn't mean anything. Terrible.
But you have to include it now because you talked about it. So yeah. Tim just pushed aside a mound of fancy beans and pushed the button. And as you can hear, he was successful because here's the music.
Okay.
All right. So this movie ends with the utter defeat of Ivan Mosier, a.k.a. Lyle Alzado. He falls into his pit, which was filled with water, and explodes. We don't see the body.
Sewage.
So, of course, sewage, yeah. But it's like wet. It's wet up to your shoulders.
Okay.
Also, this guy survived being set on fire multiple times and stuff. He survived being electrocuted, 20,000 volts.
He could still be
Do
one
we think
quarter
this
alive.
killed him? Yeah, he's he's still like, he was half alive before. I'd say he is 49/50ths alive at this point.
Okay.
Yep. 49/100ths. How about that? He's still pretty alive.
Don't do math.
Yeah, I can't do math. So he still hangs out in that prison, and he's still killing people. But you know what? He's not alone. There's another figure wearing an executioner's mask who's going around also killing people. At first, Mosier doesn't notice because he doesn't really keep track of these things. He's very sloppy.
Yeah.
But there's another film being filmed there. It's called Jailhouse Rock 2. It's a sequel.
The Shaggy Rodeo.
The Shaggy Rodeo. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I feel like I maybe just got tricked into saying something racist by Tim. But people are disappearing, and Lyle Alzado's character, Mosier, realizes that there's another killer there, and this killer is working his way closer to him.
In the prison.
And in the prison, they're both competing to kill, right? And he's like, what's going on? He's like, I thought I was the only undead serial killer here. And he thinks maybe it's the guy from Shocker, which is a very similar movie.
Okay.
Or maybe there's another movie like that, but he's like, no.
Or from Empire Strikes Back, where
For Empire Strikes Back, he thinks maybe it's Darth Vader because that movie just came out. He's like thinking maybe that's the one. And one day they have a face-off, and he sees this guy, and this figure is more slight than him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, wearing the executioner's mug. He immediately assumes it's Susan Malone, and he rushes towards them. He grabs the mask. He rips the mask off, and what does he see?
Want me to guess?
Yeah, take a guess.
Rips off this mask. It's the unknown comic. He's wearing a bag.
No, close. It's Pat Sajak. He's like, you killed Vanna White, you motherfucker. He's like, I'd like to buy an eye. Ooh. And he reaches over and grabs the two eyes of Lyle Alzado's skull, rips them out.
Good one.
He's blinded. Heal from that, you motherfucker, he says. And he goes, now I'd like to buy XXX, because this is going to be X-rated. No, he's like, and he grabs Lyle Alzado. Slight Pat Sajak, grabs the humongous form of Lyle Alzado and keeps twisting his head like a loose screw until he pulls it off, ripping it asunder. He goes, I'd like to solve the puzzle. And he throws his head against the wall where it shatters like a melon.
Nice.
He had revenge on his co-host, Vanna White, who was killed by this guy. And this movie is called Jeopardy.
Wow.
What do you think?
I like it.
It was good.
I think he should have said, I'd like to buy an eye, and ripped out one eye, and then said,
that's actually what I wrote even.
And I'd like to buy a C, and just pulls out the other eye. Like I'm being ironic.
Oh, I get it. No, actually, Tim, let's go back. I'd like to buy an eye. Go with two eyes. He pulls it out. He goes, now I'd like is there a C on the board? No, there ain't, because I already bought your eyes.
Okay, yes.
How about that? Let's add that in the beginning. Like we were smart and we came up with that.
Then he says, I'd like to buy a Y. And he goes, why?
And I go, why? Yeah.
Why? Because I love you. And then he rips out his heart.
That's good. That's good.
All right, I'll get mine out
They
of the
said
way.
I'd like to buy some D. Yeah, dick. All right.
Did we stop your music? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
Let me
long
turn
ago.
on my button.
All right.
The people that made this movie, I'm being a little bit meta. They didn't have money to make a sequel, but they had the rights. So you know what they did?
They made a sequel.
They hired some chump to make a comic book. We'll call him Steve Stanley
Tim
Hanley.
Hamilton.
He ghost wrote some boners arcs, for a while, and a few issues of Sad Sack, and he even did a few issues of Batsman, not Batman, but Batsman.
Batsman. What was Batsman? Was he? Did he when?
He had
sitting
various
in front
types
of his window?
baseball bats. He had a
Baseball
bat
bats.
to punt criminals with, and
That's not how. Yeah.
a bat to hit criminals with,
That's how
and then
bats
a
work.
bat to
Yeah,
hit home
okay.
runs. He was Batsman.
Okay. Batsman.
So they tell Steve,
What was his sidekick called?
Batsman,
Was he Robin the Boy Wonder? But it was
Boy.
more like he was
a tennis
stealing
guy,
stuff.
Ball boy.
Oh, that's Ball Boy's fucked up. All right, go
That's
on.
what they call the tennis ones, right? I'm not making up
I don't
something
know.
stupid. They're called ball.
I thought
There is
I
a
thought you were
ball
just
boy
making
in
it-
some sport. There is.
In baseball, there's a ball girl.
Okay, there could be. I don't mean to say it's
Yeah.
only men,
Yep. Sounds like you were though.
but they dominate sports because of
Yep.
history.
Balls. Oh, okay.
Historically.
It is funny how all sports have balls, right? Except for hockey.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. That's all.
Is a football really a ball? I don't know what that shape is. If you showed
call
me
it a
that
ball.
shape, I wouldn't say, oh, a ball. All right. Steve Stanley Hanley.
Steve Stanley Hanley.
They tell him he'll make a lot of money on this book once they get the residuals when they make a movie out of it. So Destroyer Productions hires him to write and draw this comic. And Steve Stanley Hanley gets to work on the comic, and he creates a scenario where Ivan is still alive, shockingly. The story about Ivan, who is still alive, he writes a story about Ivan moving from the prison where he caused all this ruckus, and he went to live in the Clarksville Elevator Operator Training Facility, which had been abandoned 18 years earlier. Clarksville Elevator Operating Training Facility. So
Is that next to Kentsville?
yeah.
Yeah, Kent State, I should say.
So Steve Stanley Hanley feels he needs to learn what an elevator operating training facility is like. So he goes to live in this abandoned. He goes to live in a real one, not the one that's in the comic story. He lives.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
He lives
He
in the
can't live in
nearby
the comic.
abandoned Ellenville Elevator Operator Training Facility to really get a feel for what it's like.
Fucking tongue twister. All right.
Unknown to him, living in the basement of the Ellenville Elevator Operating Training Facility was Rachel Rebecca Edwin May. She was once the best elevator operator in the Ellenville Elevator Operating Training Facility until, on this one fateful day, she drove the training elevator off the rails and right into stately Main Street on a muggy Monday in May and ran over a nun before the streetcar could get her. So,
You've already lost me. I have no idea what's going on. You don't either. You've lost
she
yourself.
ran the elevator off the rails into the street, ran over a nun before the trolley car ran over the nun.
This is your producer, Miss Lee. What Tim is trying to say is Steve Hanley moved to an abandoned elevator facility to learn what it's like to live in one. Also, in the basement of that facility, there was an old embittered employee who once ran over a nun with her runaway elevator cab.
Thank you, Miss Lee.
Yes, thanks, Miss Lee. Anyway, she knew that her boss, Mr. Anthony Knight the Ninth, probably loosened the flywheel, bullpeen, ball joist on her elevator car because she hated it. And she got her fired. She lived in disgrace after that, George. So she lived in the basement waiting to get her revenge. But when Rachel Rebecca Edwin May snuck upstairs to read this comic that this strange invader, Stephen Stanley Hanley, was writing, she was very curious about who this person was. And when he went to sleep, she went and read his comic. I'm a good storyteller.
This is great.
She found that she loved the story of revenge, this revenge-seeking Ivan who lived in the basement of the Clarksville Elevator Operating Training Facility. She feels that her and Ivan, who she imagined was named Ivan Charlie Tango Charlie, would find love getting revenge together. So she left Stephen Stanley Hanley alone and scampered.
What happened to you making these shorter?
Scampered off to Clarksville.
Okay.
This is your producer, Miss Lee. What Tim is trying to say is the disgraced elevator operator who lived in the basement read the comic book that Stan Lee wrote and thought it was a true story. Thus, She ran off to live with the non-existent Ivan.
Thanks, Miss Lee.
Stanley Hanley finished his comic, and it failed miserably. Thus, he ended up working as a ghostwriter on Boner's Arc again. And he worked on The Flash. Not
Flash,
not the Flash
superhero.
in DC Comics, the guy who fights crime by flashing criminals. He never actually catches them. He just likes to flash criminals.
He making himself a criminal, ironic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this comic book was called Dirk the Demonstrative Destroyer. I don't remember writing that, George.
Wait.
But it's shorter than last week.
No, it wasn't.
They're getting shorter.
Wait, was that the whole story?
That's the whole story. She ran off. She wanted revenge, but she felt better. She ran off.
That was just a weird tongue twister.
This is your producer, Miss Lee. This story was just a weird tongue twister.
She wanted revenge on her boss for ruining her career.
Oh, man.
But he died.
Folks, if you understood anything of what Tim said, please write to us at Seddy Bimco with an E at the end @gmail.com. Tell us what you thought of that story.
Yeah. Because we have a letter.
Ooh, from whom?
Mr. Dirk Feelgood.
Mr. Dirk Feelgood sounds like an adult film star.
He's on the Discord.
Okay.
And
the Discord that we never mentioned because you don't want people actually showing up in our Discord.
He's British, one of our British listeners.
He's British.
I saved him because the last time he wrote in, Kevin Cablasto read his letter in a terrible British accent.
Oh, yeah, don't do that. We don't want to be. That's an ugly American thing.
So you're welcome, Andrew. We're going to read your letter.
You're welcome. His real name is Andrew?
Yes.
You just blew his shit up. Dirk is Andrew, everybody.
And sadly, he's talking about a movie you didn't see, which was Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Yep, and probably never will see.
Hello, you chaps. Getting ahead of Kevin's attempt at English accent by framing this all in the Queen's, don't you know? See, now I had to do that. Hard Ticket to Hawaii. I only went and viewed it, didn't I? In this film, we asked the age-old question. Why are bazookas not standard issue for all law-abiding enforcement agencies? I'm super chuffed to discover your jolly old country as Seddy Bimco explores all the different states of the United States. This one being Hawaii, which seems to be the place with the highest concentration of hairspray per person in the known universe.
Oh, boy, I don't know about that.
Yeah, he hasn't been to Florida.
Yeah. He hasn't been to Florida in 1988.
For my revenge sequel, you can suggest one. Hey, you're the first one, Dirk. For my revenge sequel, I would suggest that funny old onion Ashley, you know the fellow, works in the restaurant and sexually assaults all the women he sees. Well, sadly, that masochistic persona hides a crumbling biscuit inside. He is consumed by grief as he was actually made madly in love with Shades, the frisbee-throwing, assault weapons-carrying glaucoma sufferer. Upon hearing of the demise of his one true in such an ironic fashion, he becomes obsessed with beach sports as murder weapons. He seeks to eliminate
beach sports
as murder weapons. You see, in this movie, one of the agents puts razor blades on a frisbee because the drug guard likes to play frisbee with this lady, and he just comes along and said, "Hey, how you might play with me?" And he's like, "Can you throw?" He's like a guard with a gun and everything. He says, "Yeah, I can throw," and he throws the frisbee with razor blades, and it cuts off his fingers and goes into his neck.
Nice.
So, yeah.
It's like Odd Job, but like with a frisbee.
You had to be there, George. I'm sorry.
I guess so.
I'm sorry you missed that movie.
Yep.
He seeks to eliminate all involved with the murder of his fiancée. I'm reading terribly tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is like, are you illiterate?
A beach volleyball filled with a grenade, a snorkel stuffed with cyanide, and a parasol doused in paraffin and then set alight. His homicidal rampage is unmatched. The only person who can stop him? Just one bazooka welding, airplane flying, contaminated snake. Because that's what was also in this movie.
Wait, is this the movie where they shoot a snake with a bazooka?
Yes, we sent you a clip.
You did? Oh, okay. I thought I saw this somewhere else. Okay.
He says, "Ta-ta."
I did see that much.
Sure, feel good.
Ta-ta.
But yeah, that was that movie. This movie was about drug dealers, but there just happened to be a snake infested with the cancer cells of rats.
I tell you what, Tim, I am going to watch this movie now.
You may like it.
Yeah, I might like this. That was great. I really like that his innate Britishness came through just by choice of his choice of words. And I appreciate you did not attempt to do the accent because that would have been a disservice to our friend overseas.
Well, yeah, you hear that, Kevin? You just insulted Complasta.
Yeah, that's right. I did.
I'm sorry,
All
my
right.
reading skills. That tongue twister ruined my mouth.
Yep.
Story
Yep.
I did.
Yep. You're broken for the rest of the Will Tim recover by next week? Because next week, Tim, do I get to announce the movie?
Yeah. What country?
Right.
What state first?
Well, what
Tease
state?
me.
Well, I'm telling you, I liked the idea that you all just did. You broke out of the continental United States, and I am trying to keep this kind of alphabetical. I've broken it a few times, just so that we don't skip states. So I'm leaving the continental United States. We're doing Alaska.
Ooh.
And the movie is 1977's Claws.
Claws? Oh.
Spelled CLAWS. It's available on. It's available in its entirety in YouTube, and it is credited as being the first movie to cash in on the Jaws craze.
Oh, this isn't about Santa Claus.
No, it's about bears. It's Jaws with bears
Claus.
in Alaska.
That's like Santa.
You did get everybody. He was clapping his hands and jumping up and down.
Santa and elves.
It's like, oh boy, like my favorite movie, White Christmas.
Rudolph.
Is that what it's called? No, what's the one that you made us watch? The one
White
with
Christmas?
Bing Crosby.
Yep, White
It
Christmas.
is White Christmas. Okay, it sounded weird when I said it.
Huh.
Yep.
All right, everybody. You can love
Everybody,
us
this
and
was
like us everywhere and rate and review
Yep.
us and give us 5, 11, 12 stars and write us. At
Send us in your
Seddy
own
Bimco.
revenge sequels.
Yeah. And,
Write
and
reviews,
George
send
maybe
us
will read
money.
them. Maybe George will read them
Maybe.
instead of me mangling them.
Especially after Tim just broke himself doing tongue twisters.
It made sense. She was a phantom of the elevator operator facility. And she read his
That's my
comic
word.
and thought that Ivan was real. And she went to fall in love with an imaginary character. In a
Tim, if you
comic
have
book.
to explain your story again after, it just means the story didn't work.
All right.
Let's end this fucking episode.
Gotta go. We'll see everybody next week. I think I told
All
them
right, bye,
everything.
everybody.
Thanks. Look at our blog for drawings I do of our revenge stories.
Why won't this end?
Okay, bye. So long. Bye.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.
She was so drunk that melted dummy talked to her.
What did it say, Tim?
Said, "You think my face melted? Well, you should see those guys in Raiders of the Lost Ark." There you go.
That's your joke. Wait, I have to ask you, Tim. Did you have a joke set up for that, or was that just spur of the moment?
A few, and I'm like, I'm not doing another list. That's the last one.
That was the best
Cutting it
one
out.
you had too. Cut it out. Cut it all out.